Sons, because he has had his representative here, the agent who has been briefing him on what is going on, getting all the proceedings captured and also getting all the information of what was going on. But what he received, and actually he had to call me, was really disturbing. First and foremost, the system, we were told the system collapsed in the morning. And you had to suspend the election. And that to us meant that probably a new date is going to be communicated. But we got a rude shock to learn that actually you have resumed the elections, the process again, shortly, I think, after 3 p.m. And that was a matter of great concern to us, that how do we have a free and fair election under such circumstances where the system has totally failed. And to make matters worse, even the candidate himself, our own client, failed to cast his vote. He tried to log into the system, totally failed. And a couple of others who have raised him, they want to log in, they want to cast their votes, but it's not possible. And we said we needed to have this interface with you and see if possible the whole process can be halted and work out a mechanism of ensuring that we have a free and fair election. And for the record, some of us saw this coming because we are really worried about the online voting, how transparent it was going to be, where you can't tell who is voting and from where, you can't establish their credentials. It becomes a little bit difficult to get the whole process to be transparent, to ensure that it's only those who are eligible to vote who are participating in the process. So that's why we are saying the whole system process was susceptible to abuse by whoever is participating in the same. And we got concerned. Those issues were raised earlier on. We thought you could postpone it for a few weeks, months. We iron out all these issues so that we have a credible process. Because ultimately what we need is to have a credible electoral process that will return the president who has the mandate of the artists in this country. That's exactly what we want. The ultimate goal is to have a credible process that will return the president who enjoys the mandate of the people. But considering what has happened so far and the issues I've raised, because I've just summarized these issues, it would appear we may not have that particular goal achieved. And that will be setting this on a very, very wrong course. So in a nutshell, we are here to have that intercourse, or rather discourse, to have that particular matter resolved one way or the other.
Thank you for your input on the elections, your concerns that have been raised. Just to set the record straight, I think there was miscommunication. Let me bring you up to speed on what has happened so far. The communication that went out our members and candidates was that we would kick off the election today at 9 a.m. And prior to kicking off the election, the procedure was that we would have members of the media, members of and some stakeholders as observers to witness that the election kicks off free and fair, and that implied that we would show the voting dashboard starting at 00, and we did that. We had them sign witness forms because we were able to demonstrate that each of the positions that are eligible had no votes. We were able to achieve that. The second point I want to raise is that on the issue whether we stopped or not, I think there's still miscommunication on that. The correct position is that we planned to run this election to start from 9 to 5 p.m. And communication we got from our technology support, that is NITA, was that the system was robust enough to handle all the votes simultaneously, the voting process simultaneously. However, we observed that around 11, about an hour into the elections, that the system was slowing down. And we did communicate because we got a lot of reports from the various members who were attempting to vote that they were unable. The correct information is that whereas some were completely unable, some of those who had failed earlier were still able to vote. And we did not stop, and for those who have been here, they can attest to that. We have announced consistently throughout the election that the elections have not stopped, they have slowed down. They have slowed down because we were experiencing congestion on the network. We were not aware that actually this congestion or this slowdown in the network was there prior to the elections. NITA, the entire government system, had slowed down. The UMA election system is part of the government SMS system that carries the entire server that runs the SMS systems of government, including NIRA, Ministry of Health, and so many other agencies of government. So when the elections kicked off, it slowed down, and many members were unable to vote, whereas some were able to vote. So we took action immediately to try and correct what was happening. We had a backup system we had already built, but we had put it aside as a redundancy measure, and we activated it. It took a bit of time to activate it, but we did activate it, and we activated another option of web. We shared the links with the members. The members have been voting successfully, and there's a lot of evidence to that effect. So we did not stop, we slowed down. Whether these elections are free and fair, we have made best efforts to ensure that they are free and fair. And to do that, part of the plan and the program indicated that we will run these elections from morning 9 up to 5 p.m. We will have an hour to verify. We have invited random witnesses who will attest to the whole process, and we're happy to take any feedback. In fact, we have a complaint procedure which has already been outlined. We have a tent dedicated to that. We cannot say that everything has been very smooth. The unplanned slowdown was not intended. However, we are committed to ensure that this election is free and fair. As you may be aware, when it comes to elections, candidates are not confirmed winners or losers until there are no petitions. And our process is that we will announce results at the end of the day. However, there's room for petitions, there's room for any complaints. We have two options: immediately and within 7 days. The proposal to postpone the elections, we do welcome it, but probably you're not aware of the background of why we decided on these elections. UMA, for your information, UMA is a young organization that is under-resourced. And the background to this is that at the beginning of this election, 3 months back, the policy board, which is the section of the organization that is responsible for sustainability, planned the elections, and the original budget was for a ballot election, physical ballot. And because UMA is countrywide, we were unable to raise the funds necessary to carry out that kind of election. And then we resorted to the second option, which was to plan an election where we would just line up. But still, even that kind of election required a lot of resources. We shared this with the members and to fundraise, and we were unable to acquire the resources. So we had two options: to carry out a digital election as our last resort, or to postpone these elections into the future until we are able to raise the funds. So we said if we can carry out a digital election, we got the partnership with the National Information Technology Authority, and they offered to build for us the voting system. which they did. We tested it for about a month. The members were able to try and demonstrate that they could vote. And today, we were able to erase all the trial votes, and we demonstrated that the system kicked off clean, and there were no votes in the system, and we were able to start on a clean slate. There are challenges, but like all new things, sometimes challenges are there. And in general, as a country, we have a lot of challenges. We appreciate all these suggestions, but these suggestions come with a lot of responsibility, and that requires most especially raising resources to make them happen. So as of now, as the head of the Electoral Committee of UMA, I have been tasked with the responsibility from the policy board to ensure that we run these elections with the resources available. And this is what is happening as of now. We have a lot of room to audit the election in case any of the members, the candidates are not satisfied. And we have a complaint procedure. We are very transparent. Because this is a digital election, there's aspects that are technical, and we are happy to take an audit team.
Great concern. One, much as the electoral process is digital, I'm sure you must be having at least hard copies of the voting materials, say the voters register. Can we access it? That is one. Can we have a look at the voters register? Two, there must be at least, please.
Can we have silence, please?
There must be a voters register. Can we have a look at the same? At least that one to establish who is eligible and who is not. And two, our client here, you know he is a candidate. He has failed to download that app you are talking about. And he has not cast his vote as we talk right now. May we know whether he is now going to be disenfranchised, that is not going to participate in the electoral process, because the system has totally failed. Three, the process of accreditation to get who is eligible and who is not. How is it being conducted here? How do you accredit the voters and say this one is eligible and this one is not? We want also to establish that. Finally, you have said the system slowed down. We would like to know the magnitude of that breakdown and how it has impacted the electoral process. Because if indeed there was that technical glitch and the electoral process is digital, essentially it means in a situation where the only platform you have to conduct an election has suffered that breakdown. That is the only platform, because you have no manual system. You only have a digital platform, and it has suffered that setback. Under those circumstances, if it has slowed down, under those circumstances, how do you proceed with that? And the final thing is, you said yes, you didn't have sponsors, you very much wanted to have a manual election, to have ballot boxes brought here, and ballot papers, and everything is done in a transparent manner. You only opted for a digital system because of want of resources. At what stage was that decision taken of having a digital election? And how would the candidates know that now it's no longer viable for us to have a manual election? We are going in for a digital one, and that is ensuring that all the eligible voters participate in this process. Maybe you first deal with that set of questions.
Thank you very much. These are great questions. I I wish you had engaged with us much earlier. You would have appreciated most of the information that you're asking about. Starting with the first one regarding the voter register. Because this is a digital election, we focused on publishing most of the content digitally. However, the first draft of the register was published and is available at our office. But because our members, the physical one, it's available at our office, and we published it through a press conference, and we informed all our members about its availability. However, from the time we published it to the time of the election, we moved into from phase of publishing it to another phase of corrections. What does that mean? It means that the register was compiled based on the member information that we had on our files. As in, UMA is an organization that has been around for a couple of years, and during those years we've been registering members. And these members were registered during that time. At the time when we published that register, we were not aware of the state of health of the register. So from that stage, when we published it, we began a second phase of corrections to that register. Some of these corrections included that some of the members, at the time they registered, they had old numbers, and we asked them to give us their updated phone numbers, but their names remained. Some of these members had misspellings on their names, and we were fixing these, but the list of members remained the same. We also noticed that some of the members, whereas they had been registered at the time, they did not register contacts attached to their registration. Yes, go ahead.
This is Saha's agent.
Yes.
Who was designated to oversee the process on his behalf, and she's been here since morning. How would she tell that so and so is a voter without having access to that physical voter's register?
Thank you very much. Let me explain. Silence, please. Silence. So this register was published digitally.
Then there is a system blackout.
The power goes up. We are using the internet. The servers are elsewhere. They are government servers, and they are running. When power goes, people are still able to go to the explain. I will explain. Yes. Let me give like it was just a candidate. You can turn off a monitor, but that doesn't mean you turn off the computer. So the screens you're seeing here are displaying what is happening, but they are not. Members did not stop voting. All of that now power is back, and the system is still continues where it stopped. That's what I'm explaining. Listen, it's my turn to talk. Listen.
I was asking, you listen to him.
I am explaining. I'm still explaining. I am still explaining. The voting is separate from the display of the voting. The engine that powers the voting does not shut down because it's not running here. It's running on internet servers. So it has not stopped from the time we started. However, the display for purposes of the audience that is here can be turned off, but the internet servers are still running. There's a difference. Now,
The question is, how do they monitor it?
that's why when power came back and the system was back up and running, the update showed that all the votes that were made where the display was off were captured still, and they're still in the system. Now, nobody stopped voting because the display here stopped. We did not turn off the system. The servers were still running in the background, and all those votes were counted. In fact, for those who are here when this display was switched off, you can see the difference.
So let me get this, just a minute, before he comes in.
Yes.
Let me get this for record purposes.
Thank you.
At no one moment did you turn off the system because of that breakdown.
No, we turned off the display, but the servers.
No, I mean the system completely because you're saying they have slowed it down.
The system has many parts to it. There is a part of the system that receives the votes, there's a part of the system that displays the votes. The part of the system that receives the votes did not stop at any one time, it continued. We just added another channel that was easier for web. Now the part of the system that displays the votes is the one that went off. It was part of the one that was overwhelmed by the server congestion.
Well, my last question before I let my colleagues come in here.
You asked another question about the decision and how it was taken.
Yes, but let me add on another one.
Yes.
How many voters do we have?
As of now, I need to check.
No, not those who have voted. How many do we have on the voters register? Those who are eligible.
Those who have voted.
No, not those who have voted. The total number of eligible voters.
It's any member right now who opens the link and know that information.
Just I want to get it from you as the president. How many voters do you have?
I can open the system and anyone can see it.
If I'm presiding over an exercise, I should be able to tell that I have a number of voters like this. You should be able to tell the exact number of the individual voters.
Let him stop entertaining questions.
No, please, you can't do that.
No. What's happening is wrong.
We are
Let me answer the question. Let me answer the question. We will close this session in the next 5 minutes.
Okay.
This is wrong.
I am taking these last questions and we close this session.
Just let me get to know the number of
The total number of voters is 3,100. Can we have order? King Saha, please put yourself to order. Put yourself to order. Can we have some order here? Can we have order? Can we put ourselves here? Can we put ourselves to order? There are 3,100 voters. The next question was...
Fete tumanyi bayiyeyo bululubumeka obukoze eki mu butuufu ng'olaba nti ba agency baffe ne batandika okuba amasimu okuva mu clusters ez'enjawulo nga bagamba bannayo okulonda kuganye nange kennyini ne neegezaako okweronda mu butuufu ne kugaana. So mu mbeera eyo buli kimu kyonna entambula kibadde kitambula bulungi, naye mu butuufu kino olwaleero kikoze eki? Nze mbadde nsaba nga commission mmwe ku lw'obulungi bwa music naffe olw'obulungi bwe twagala wuma ebeerewo ng'abayimbi, kino olwaleero mu kisitoopinga tuddemu tutereeze nkyembadde nsaba gomba, naye nga mu butuufu results ezinaava mu kino ne bwe naaba nze empangudde kuba nazze nga mmanyi ndi muwanguzi sigenda kuzikkiriza kuba pasente gye mbadde nnyina okuwangulirako abantu bange nze egimanyi ne bajja gamba nti tuli feera, sikkiriza mu results zigenda kuva mu kalulu kano gyefutuyambe buyambi mukama wange epolisi bola.
Amenya gange Lwaki Mariam, as a representative of King Saha. Chair, nze ng'omuntu actually tubaddeko wano okuva ku makya tuli mu nkaayana z'akalulu kano ng'aba agent wamu ne board eno.
Sorry to interrupt you. I have been advised that our legal counsel should entertain this conversation moving forward because I am not a legal expert to engage with another legal expert. Thank you very much. You will be here in any minutes and you can take over any further questions. Our position remains the same. We appreciate all the suggestions. We don't take them lightly. And the board is also paying attention closely. If the decision is made that we postpone the election or redo this election, we will do it. This is an association. We are not doing this for ourselves. We are doing it for our members. If the members are doing this necessary, whatever they deem necessary, we will make our best efforts to implement that. All the suggestions are highly valuable, and we value them, and we are taking them on record. However, let's wait for our legal counsel.
Now, as the legal counsel, no, just a minute, Chair. Yeah. Before legal counsel comes, you've heard he's a candidate, he has not cast his vote. Likewise, he has not. Time is coming to 5. Supposing counsel comes after 5.
The option for them to cast their vote using the web system is available and it's working smoothly.
No, they have failed and they are here.
No, they are here. Let them get their phones and try it. If it fails, then you will be right. The system is there. They have the links. Open your phone now. If it fails, then you prove me right. Get your phone now. Get your phone. For the simuyo olonde. Yes. Londa.
Na yo olwaliro nti okuva time gye nabadde nnina okulonderako ne time kati ssaawa eno jeff obadde free and fair mu kalulu kano tetwagala tulabe nti osika omugwa olw'abantu abamu. Nze nkusaba ekintu kimu, yogera ne police board osazeemu akalulu kano tufune akalulu akali free and fair.
Thank you. Probably the legal counsel.
Akalulu katika tugenda kadi za abawagizi kati abawagizi bebalonda abawagizi bebalonda president yesa Airtel
webesobola kukola ebyo ku bantu bakulu 15,000 Airtel webesobola kulemererwa ku 15,000 Uganda yonna ng'egisobola eremererwa ku bantu 15,000
shame upon you
Airtel shame upon you Airtel shame upon you Airtel shame upon you Airtel, if you can manage all of Uganda. Airtel, some upon you. If you can't manage 5,000 people, how can you manage Uganda?
Tebasobodde kulonda olwa network antiriko bulungi.
Yes,
so kyembanze bukubirire okuba nga netegereza enembeera nze nga top officer ku umma.
Yes,
yeah, so nzize okulaba nti ndaba kiki ekigenda maaso naye nga kyensinze okufuna ze complaints okuva mubayimbi okuva mu bitundu ebyenjawulo ebyeggwanga nti since morning network kamba nti system teriiko abamu tebalonze otegedde nga naye kyo ekituufu nange sironze ng'omuntu. Yes, my phone still has failed to vote. So nzize kulaba because all we are looking at is the fairness, is the democracy. I have never been a rebel officer. Don't make that statement. Don't make that statement. Ndi omu ku bantu aba fighting for the success of Umma. Otegede for a very long time. Okitegeera. So mba nina okujja if there is a situation ate genda banga eyinza okuba nga ekubisa mu Umma ebituli. That's why I'm here. Okulanda, yeah. Definitely, my concern was, I think, we are not ready. We were not ready enough to handle the voting. We were not ready enough. That was my opinion. Yeah. Today, a lot of complaints are happening. Are coming from different areas of the country. Ngabagamba ntino, the system is not running properly. Some people have not been able to vote. So that will be a personal interview, me and you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
one
right
on
now,
one.
It's not for questions. I'm here to supervise to see what's going on. I've been called here. Because first of all I was invited. Though I was still somewhere, maybe because of pressure. The pressure is too much. Yeah, the complaints. Definitely by the EC. I'm supposed to be here. I'm not in a wrong position. Because I'm among the top officials of Umma and in the board of trustees of Umma. So I have all the capacity to be here. Because mission yaffe mu kutandika Umma yonna yali yakuba nti bitambula bulungi mu Umma. So bwe mba tufuna complaints okuva mu bitundu ebyenjawulo nti okulonda tekutambula bulungi mba siyinza kutuula wansi n'ensigala mba nina okujja ndabe kiki ekigenda mu maaso because nange ng'omuntu kyo ekituufu nange essimu yange yaganye okulonda ng'engamba mbu no the system is down ngamba so the way forward sinakwogerako na EC naye kyengenda okugamba to see what can we do because all in all we want the good of Umma. Okitegere twagala bulungi bwa Umma lwakuba nti lukimu kitambula mu maaso n'ekirina okuba okitegeera. That's what it is. Thank you so much.
Abakalubuka abayimbi babadde bazze ndowooza ku keeping order. Order ebuliddewa. Gwa bagamba order ebuliddewa. Lwaki beekalakaasa? Situmanyi gwatubuulira. Ng'omu ku bakolegi abawagira King Saha ku nkwe naye tulaba mulinga abayiye akalulu nsonga ki?
Tetulinga abakayiye akalulu kayiiseko kennyini. Akalulu kakekyanga emirundi nga 7 nga kakola ne kavaako ne bikola ne bivaako. Abantu bakagezaako emirundi nga 7-8 okulonda ng'era tebikola system. Kati simanyi lwaki oba okyasigala kwaka akalulu okukeyimirirako mbuke kagenda okukyusiza ebintu byo byokola ki byoyagala tekabaamu mazima.
Naye muzze nga mwekwata ku bisubi nga buli ekijja King Saha akigaana. Kati ate tulaba ne graph nnene naye mugiganye.
Mwe ffe baani?
Okusinziira ku bantu
ffe baani? Ffe tuli bayimbi. Lodi bitemu wa Saha. Kana akalulu kabaddemu kati kankuzze ku kaba presidential candidate babadde basatu. Lodi bitemu, King Saha ne n'abakyala Sindi. Ababiri abasajja bakavuddemu. Mbute bagamba tekali ki tekali fair. Kati lwaki kali fair olw'omuntu omu.
Kiba kitegeeza kuba graph engeri gyeri omukyala yabbi akalulu batiyabbi.
nze sijagamba mboba ki ebintu si bituufu byonna si bituufu wetulondera ekisooka kyeyamana abagambye alondesa mbuwaali wenyini talina register eri mu ofiisi kati simanyi kyakolaawo kitegeeza agenti wa pulezidenti wange tamanyi bantu bakkirizibwa kulonda ne agenti woli tamanyi bakkirizibwa kukola ki kulonda President wange nakugamba yagezezaako okulonda ne bikola ki ne bigaana ekyo nakyo ne mukitwala for granted okitegeera nakyo tekirabibwamu ekyo nakyo tuwekwata ku bisubi abantu abalala ne babbayo ne bagamba bannange akalulu keesiba ffe tetubitegeera naye ate buli bwe keesiba byeyongera kufuluma results eno kati tetumanyi kiki kyebakola ki kyebaliko so akalulu ffe tukwekyangiddeko tetubiriimu tetukamanyiiko era akalulu kayiise
kati kiki muzzaako nga tumaliriza akalulu kayiise okulunda kwawoma tekubaddeeyo
kati ate nze nkugamba ekikati kyekiba kiddako
ekifo mukirese nga kikalu
kati tubadde tuli kuwuma tubadde tulya kuwuma tubadde twagala kuteekawo obumu ng'abayimbi ffenna tubeere mu wuma naye era bwe biba tebikoze bye bimanyi feffe busiwo wamma mulinde eyo gy'oli ajja ne shooyo okuva ssaawa 5 awo we nazuukuse ne bitakola ne ŋŋamba ndowooza binsusa otegeera ne nkubira ku pulezidenti wange andagirira engeri gye nnyinza okulondamu kye yakoze n'aŋŋamba ffeeffe tewali kabadi buli omu kyaŋŋamba awo kye yakoze n'antwala baba musooke mu
Uganda Musicians Association Electoral Committee, and by the powers vested in me as the Electoral Commissioner of the UMA elections, and with all the overwhelming concerns from the members and the various candidates, I am making a decision to stop these elections. We will announce a way forward in due course. We've had overwhelming challenges with technology. However, we will announce a way forward in due course. Thank you very much.
Tufunye okwemulugunya okw'amaanyi era okuva ku makya obwedda tuguliriza ebigenda maaso nga ndine client wange ono King Saha nga ba agents abali ku ground batuwa ekigenda maaso naffe mu technology gwe tumanyi ne tugezaako system ogyetegereza tugenza okulaba nga ng'ebigenda maaso si birungi system nita yagiremeredde ne bagiyimiriza abantu babadde balonda emirundi mingi mirundi egisukka mu gumu mu 2 mu 3 abalala babadde bakola system eno okugibreakinga down nga bablockinga namba ezabo be balowooza nti bawagira King Saha kwegamba baddemu emivuyo mingi naye tuli basanyufu nti Jeff ne tiimu ye nga bakulembera akakiiko bateekinze decision eno ejja kuyamba nnyo industry era tuddeyo amateeka gaterezebwe bulungi n'okulonda ku democratic paka tugenda kutuula nabo tulabe nti buli kimu tukitereeza wabeerewo okulonda okw'amazima n'obwenkanya okujja okuyamba industry eno okugenda mu maaso tuli wano lwa kuyamba industry so si lwa kutabangula ekyo tugenda kuddamu tukitunulemu bwebanga ye concern tulabe abayimbi bano b'amaanyi basobola okukola ekivvulu ne bagamba nti sente zetugenda okujjamu za kutegeka kulonda King Saha n'abanene bonna ne bayiika ne bakola show nevaamu ensimbi empitirivu ne zitegeka okulonda so bwe baye
mwasooka ne muvayo ne mugamba temugenda kukkiriza kalulu kali digital era ne muleeta complaint yammwe mwajjewo amaanyi agasindika ba agent wano
no ekintu kyonna nti Saha abadde candidate ebbanga lyonna era nga tugamba nti process eno ffe tujja kubanga tugiwakanya olw'okuba tejja kuvaamu kya bwenkanya tuyinza kuwakanya ate nga tulaze ebikyamu birimu so abikyamu tubibalaze naye nze ndi musanyibwo ne Sindi afune obwenga ne buli candidate yenna afune nga bwebo ddala ng'abalonzi be bayimbi bennyini abasalirawo industry yaabwe kubanga be basinga okulumwa be bagala industry etereere si kyekyo kubanga system Jeff naye omulidde annyonnyodde nti system ya NITA yasilowinze down yalemereddwa okukola omulimu gweteekeddwa okukola ekyo akyogedde
Ndi mukola interview mukwano kakubiri. Ndi mukola interview kakubiri.